Good morning and welcome to Coffee Talk. What's today? Friday. I leave for Decatur, Georgia today for the book festival tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm hoping to meet some of you. Please, if you live in Georgia, tell everybody you know so I can see some friendly faces. I don't want to be the only girl sitting there by myself. So anyway, last night Michael and I went to dinner with some friends, and we're sitting at the table, laughing, ate dinner, everything is fine. And all of a sudden, Michael's friend, like his best friend, I'm sitting across from him, and all of a sudden he literally just falls out. Just starts going like this, and I think, is he falling out of the, that's my thought. I go, is he falling out of the chair? He literally just falls out, bam, on the floor. So of course we're like, oh my God. So we all jump up, people sitting around us, waiters, you see a man who's 6'6". I mean, he's a retired professional basketball player. He's a big man. Fall out of a chair. So we collect our emotions and get to him, and he sort of comes to, almost embarrassed, like, what happened? Whatever. So we're like, are you okay? He's like, I'm fine. So I put my heart back in my chest, and I'm like, oh my God, that was so weird. He wasn't really drinking. It wasn't hot. There was no, like, it was so, happened so fast. So a doctor comes over, and the doctor's talking to him. Do you know your name? What day is it? What year is it? Checking his pulse. And he keeps saying to the doctor, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. And the doctor looks at me and says, he's not fine. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, do you have a phone? I'm like, I have a phone. Yeah. He's like, okay, just keep it nearby. And I'm looking at him, and he looks fine now. He's talking. And all of a sudden, the doctor's literally checking his pulse. And he starts saying something like, it's 2000 and the day is something like, his words stopped making sense. And his eyes rolled back in his head and out. And this time, I don't handle things like that well. I am the person who, when Charlie fell, when she was like 2, she fell down the front steps of my porch. She like missed a step. She was holding on, but she missed the step, and it projected her forward, and I couldn't grab her in time. And I cried, I'm not kidding, for like hours. Like, Michael was finally like, babe, you gotta stop. But this time, I look over at my husband, who's now like this. I mean, it was the saddest look from this man. And I can't handle it. So the doctor looked at me and said, call 911. So I took my phone and I went into another room because I couldn't watch what was happening. And a lot of it was, I couldn't watch Michael. I couldn't watch him see his best friend like this and like feel so helpless. Like, I can't handle stuff like that. So I called I was the 911 girl. Called 911, gave them all the information, told them exactly what happened, stayed on the phone, and then she told me to go outside and meet the ambulance. And in that moment, somebody opened the back door to the restaurant, and I looked into the restaurant, and I see this man that we love on the floor, and I see my husband, who is visibly distraught. And I realize how little control we really have over this life. So many of us are in strife. We are in disarray. We are in some place of grudge holding or punishment. We are hurting or hurting someone else. And we don't live in our truth. We don't ask for what we want. All because we are terrified. Terrified of change, terrified of hurting others, terrified of what people will think. But I was painfully aware in that moment how quickly any of us could be the one on the floor. That is the truth. And, you know, the ambulance went in and everybody went in and checked all his vital signs, and he started to come back to. And like most men, he refused to go to the hospital. He said he would go see his own doctor today. We can't force someone to go to the hospital. If he had had another episode, they could have taken him while he was passed out, but they can't take somebody who's coherent. They can't force you to go. So I did what any woman would do, and I called the women in his life. I tried to call his wife. I called his daughter, and I tattled, told what happened. And of course, they all wanted to meet him and make him go to the hospital. But I was really shook. I mean, I cried. Michael and I got in the car, and I said to him, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah." But then he was like really quiet. And I know Michael. Michael is quiet by nature, but when he is silent, when I can't even hear him breathing, he's struggling. So I said to him, we'll call him tomorrow and we'll make sure, you know, that he goes to the doctor. And he took my hand and he said, "If that ever happens to you, go to the hospital." And I said, "Oh, baby, I'll be walking myself to the hospital. I'm not the one. You. Men are difficult. If it ever happens to you, you go to the hospital." And he said to me, "Above all, you are my best friend, Jamie." There are periods of time in our marriage where we are not in a romantic relationship. We don't know what we're doing, but we are best friends. And he said, "Above all, you are my best friend." And I can't. And I said, I get it. Life is short. It is unpredictable. And you have to be brave enough to be happy. You have to be brave enough to be happy. We all do. Have the difficult conversations. If you love someone, tell them. If you're sorry, tell them. If you need to grant forgiveness that you've been denying, grant it. Because you can't take it with you when you go. Honestly. Just like so many things, I think I'm affected. I really am. But it is important to tell people how you feel, and I tell you that I love you every day, but I want to take the opportunity to tell you one more time. Not really, because I'll tell you 100 more times. But every single one of you who is here with me on this journey, I love you. I genuinely love you. I care about you. I care about your families. I read your messages. I love your heart. I love you. I really do. All right, I'm going to walk the dog and finish this coffee and pack for Georgia. Have a great day.